Okay, Jake, what is this?
What is it that we're doing?
Yes.
Is that the question? So, like everybody else, we wanted to start a podcast. So that includes hipsters, college kids. Everybody does a podcast now. Sorry. So our idea for what a podcast would look like is generally 45 minutes in length. It would be 15 minutes on stuff I want to talk about, on whatever topic for the whole podcast it is, and then 15 minutes for you to talk about, what your take is on the topic, and then 15 minutes at the end for both of us to just kind of go back and forth, and then that's it. So,
all right.
That's the general format.
Yeah, so the first episode, we're going to keep things relatively simple. We want to introduce ourselves, basically. So the topic is going to be LSU, because we go there. We're students there. Yes. So,
wait, do you want me
it's up to you
to go
honestly.
first, or you?
I couldn't care less. My existence is meaningless.
Okay, I'll go first. So, I guess we have a time. Yeah, we have a timestamp right here. So I'll go. I don't know. I'll just keep going.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, we're at like 3 minutes right now. So my name Jake Rivera. I'm an industrial engineer at LSU, and an industrial engineer essentially. Most schools don't have this degree. In Louisiana, it would just be LSU and LA Tech that I could get an industrial engineering degree from, and then I think UL is about to start one. So just right off the bat, that's like a pro, like for LSU for me, is that like if I went to Southeastern, or if I went to Nichols or McNeese, or even Tulane, I wouldn't be able to do the same degree that I'm getting right now. And so with LSU engineering, which you're not in, I think LSU engineering is like kind of the favored child of LSU.
Yeah.
I think that they pour tons of money, and companies pour tons of money into the engineering program at LSU. So if you're looking to get an engineering degree, LSU is a good school to go to because of how many different companies and stakeholders there are in the
And what exactly are you doing, like, as an industrial engineer?
So an industrial engineer, it's kind of hard to explain, but the best way to explain it is that it's all about processes, and it's all about making things better in an industrial setting. So it would focus on safety, it would focus on ergonomics, it would focus on supply chain logistics. So if you have to move things from, wherever you're getting like your steel and getting it shipped to the factory, and then doing whatever you have to do there, and then getting that product shipped to wherever you're distributing it from. That whole process is another thing that industrial engineers look at. And then project management as well.
Yeah.
So if it was like a construction company, it would be like, organizing the, like, how long is it going to take us to get all this done, and then what resources are we going to need, and who's going to be in charge of everything. All of that is like under the big umbrella degree of industrial engineering.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So what do you do outside of classes at LSU?
Outside of classes, I pretty much, I do IISC, but like that kind of does fold in with the classes. Like my extracurricular stuff that I do for school it still has to do with school. But instead of it being like about the industrial engineering classes, it would be like, because I'm the treasurer for, I am now, as of like last week, the treasurer of the club for industrial engineers, IISE. Is that like the acronym? It's like a big long thing. And every engineering type has like their own version of the same thing.
Okay.
And so I'm involved with that, and that just it has to companies are giving us money and then like doing speeches for us, and like we can tour their facilities and different things like that. And those are things that a class we don't do field trips.
Yeah.
But the club would kind of fulfill that need there.
Okay, I got you. So what's the difference between an industrial engineer and any
hold
other
on.
type?
I also play D&D. Yes. I don't know if it's in the shop, but
I also do as well. I don't know if it is. Maybe
we'll get to that. And I'm sure anybody looking at this video knows this.
Free. Okay. So what like separates an industrial engineer from like regular engineers? So like mechanical or civil or something like that.
Yeah. So
I feel like they like work with things, but you like work with people working with things.
Industrial engineers definitely work with people. We engineer, like, in business you learn that there's all these different types of resources. There's land, there's labor, there's minerals. I don't know, I couldn't list them all off the top of my head. But essentially, people are a resource. And most engineers learn how to engineer like with steel, like a mechanical engineer, or with chemical engineer, or electricity. So all of those different things are resources, and industrial engineers focus on the human resource. Now, we don't work in human resources. We're not going to be hiring people and doing campus visits and things like that, like a normal HR firm, but like it has to do with like, if you have a bunch of people working on a factory line, are you going to put it in like a straight line, or are you going to have like two parallel lines, or like two like parallel U shapes where like it goes in here and it comes out here? And it's all about how can you facilitate things around people, and then accounting for their faults and like their mistakes, and coming up with ways for them to first of all be safe, and then second of all make more money for the company by doing things more efficiently.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the type of thing that is like having to do with human resources. I feel like when you think of human resources,
I shouldn't have even said that.
Yeah, you think of like the employees' like wellness, but I don't think that's what that's worried about. It's
but partly
their productivity is what you're worried about. Their productivity is higher when they're well.
Well, yeah, in most places, it's not the gold mines.
Yeah.
OSHA has a big to do with all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, that's the, I don't know what it stands for, but it's essentially the government branch that is in charge of safety in the workplace.
Oh, okay.
So like if your miners were just dying on the job and you were just like dragging their bodies out and then replacing them with like new people and just keeping the mines going, you just had a person die like every week, OSHA would have something to say about it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm glad there's something like that.
Yeah. Surprised you didn't learn about that as a lifeguard.
No, actually I didn't. Like, they didn't really talk about that very much. They never talked about working conditions a lot. All of it was like having to do with like learning the skills and doing I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. Learning the skills and feeling like a sense of betterment or something like that from being able to like save people's lives and stuff. That was like your payoff.
The safety factor.
Yeah.
They're not trying to keep you safe. You're trying to keep other people safe.
Yeah. And so there wasn't like a lot of they would pay you good, but like the normal work incentives that you get, like you probably wouldn't get them because it was a summer job, and it was supposed to be like you were satisfied with the skills you learned to save someone.
Yeah.
Instead of being satisfied with like getting a raise or something. But that would come in the next. It's I don't know. I'm probably butchering it, but oh well.
Okay. Back to LSU.
Yes, we're back. We're
So
back in action. Technically, we never left because they managed the pool at LSU. You joker. I was gonna say something, but then I forgot.
So yeah, essentially everything I say is kind of like from that perspective of LSU engineering. And so I guess I could. The next important thing to say about LSU is probably the political aspect. I probably have a pretty good take on that.
Okay.
So
Hit me with the politics of LSU.
Okay. So I worked in the state capitol as a page for like the past 2 years. I'm not doing it this year because I'm trying to get an internship this summer and I want to be able to go wherever. I don't need to stay in Baton Rouge. And even if I did stay in Baton Rouge, I don't know if I would do it again. But from what I did learn there, kind of getting in the mix and seeing like how everything works, there were constant attempts to cut tops, right? And we know just from being Louisiana residents that everybody loves tops.
Yeah.
And I would say that like the majority of people that like
explain what tops is for the uneducated viewers.
Okay, so tops is if you're from Louisiana and you go to any public university in Louisiana and you make a certain ACT score, like a 20, which is, I mean, I hate to say it for people that can't get 20s, but most people can get above a 20 on an ACT.
Yeah.
And so that means that like the vast majority of definitely private school students and probably a lot of public school students too are all eligible to receive the lower level tops. And the difference between the lower level tops and the high level tops is like a few $100s. Mm-hmm. But generally you're gonna get like about $7,500 a year if you can get to low level tops. But if you get the high level tops, you get like 8,200 or something. So anyways, to break it down, there's a lot of people that are from Louisiana that are going to public universities, not just LSU. I mean, it's LSU, Southeastern, UL, LA Tech, McNeese, Nichols, I'm probably forgetting some, UNL. So all of them going to that and they're full-time students are costing, like each one of them costs the state probably on average about $7,700 a year. And a bunch of them don't get degrees. A bunch of them are getting degrees that aren't really worth society.
Worth their weight in
well,
gold.
I'm just saying it costs the same to get, like when you go to LSU, you don't pay a different tuition to get a degree that's going to make you more money later.
Mm-hmm. You don't use the government's money to get your interpretive horse dancing degree. Exactly.
So yeah. Anyways, you can only get the money for 4 years. I'm not going to go. I don't want to keep going into the specifics of tops. Generally, state gives you money. You're from here, and you go to public university here, and it's a lot. And it costs the state probably $350 million a year. So I mean, if you divide that by like however much each one is, like it's probably about 500,000 students that they're paying to go to college like that.
That's a lot of money.
It is. Yeah. It is. And so, I don't know if I did the math right there, but. So, okay, you're LSU. You know, guaranteed that all these kids are paid for already. Like, if TOPS is going to be covering $7,700 of it, LSU knows that if they charge you an extra $1,000, you're not really going to change your mind and go out of state yet, because it's still going to be cheaper to go here. So from LSU's standpoint, like from the administration standpoint, the more money that the state is going to pay students to come here, the more money that they're able to charge, with it still being paid by, mostly it getting paid by the government. So that's why we have so many fees and those like other things that like aren't included in tuition. Because yeah, it's essentially it's a money grabbing scheme essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Man, I really wasted a lot of time on the top specifics. I wish I could have started with like where I'm at like right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I don't want to go over. I'll come back to it later. I think it's your turn.
Okay. Here we go. So, like I said before, I'm Jack. Hi. I'm a student at LSU.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, hello. And I'm majoring in marketing, which basically is like marketing is like personal branding and showing off people like positives
and branding.
Yeah, branding.
Yeah.
And just like painting everything in a good light. And there's a bunch of little specifics from what I've learned so far. I've only taken one class. Haven't even passed it yet, so I'll let y'all know. But I mean, yeah, that's majoring in marketing is sort of the plan to work in entertainment. I want to try and work in online entertainment somewhere in Louisiana or not. Doesn't really bother me. It doesn't have to specifically be online as well. Like I'd love to work for Netflix, for TV, that sort of thing. But yeah, and to go along with like that stuff, a lot of that stuff has to do with like production and producing things like microphones and cameras and stuff. So I work at TigerTV.
That's
which is rep the gang. It's on my mug too, right there. Which basically is the LSU news like station-ish. Pretty much it's a paying job. They hire students to work at TigerTV, and they can choose between 3 different teams of like, you're gonna cover news, you're gonna cover sports, or you're gonna cover entertainment. But they have a 4th unspoken team that is the one that I belong to, production. Basically,
the gritty behind the scenes production team.
Yeah, and so
holding it all together.
While the anchors and the journalists and all them, they go out and find these stories outside, I come in and I learn how to use the switchboard and picker system and audio and all that, and the cameras and stuff. So yeah, it's good. I like it. I enjoy it. It pretty much. It's not very entertainment, but like it's the best I've got right now. So like I'm just gonna keep with it.
So for anybody who knows about LSU, you know that sports is number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So for TigerTV, it's not that different. It is still because sports at LSU are number 1.
Sports is super on top.
Sports is the number 1 most sought after information that y'all are putting out.
Mm-hmm.
So those interviews you're doing with Coach O and the players and all those different things.
Oh yeah, those are huge for sure. Yeah. They definitely get the most traction among like just not only students but like people outside of LSU and stuff. That's what people are interested in.
Yeah.
So and it's easy for the students to go and get that kind of footage and get that kind of interview.
So do you feel like you could be at a better school than LSU to be doing to be learning what you're learning? And if so, where would that be?
I mean, hypothetically, yes, but like I don't know where the school would be.
Yeah.
I just don't know like where it would be. So, is TigerTV the best for what I want to do? Maybe, maybe not. But it's better than doing nothing.
I bet there's a school in California, that like next to Hollywood that would kind of cater to your needs more than LSU would.
Yeah, but I think my parents would not be too kind though of me going there and majoring in film and all that.
Yeah. So when it comes to being practical, marketing is still a business degree. Mm-hmm. And you're in the College of Business at LSU, which
technically not in it yet, but yeah.
Well, technically, but still, that still is like, like it's gonna say on your diploma when you graduate the EJ or so College of Business.
Yeah.
And so like that brings a certain weight to it that film school wouldn't bring. If you wanted to go work for Tin Roof or like or Gnarly Barley or just a company that they don't make anything, like they're not producing movies, they're not doing any of that stuff, but you went and worked for them just to work in their marketing department, and you wanted to tell a story with that product. Even though that's not your number one ideal thing, LSU with the business college, like that gives you that clout to where you could apply for that job and have a chance.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's got more weight, and I want like to join whatever I'm doing. I want it to be serious and something that I feel like I can gain respect, but also like and do hard work, but also put like creative energy into it. Like that's important, and be doing something like a project that I like. So yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
That's pretty much it from my end for TigerTV.
Yeah, well, that was school, and then that was not school, which was TigerTV.
Yeah, it's technically not school. It's an on-campus job, but it's so like
ingrained.
Tied in.
Yeah.
I can talk about manship school for a little bit.
What's that?
Basically, we said that there's the EJ Orso College of Business. TigerTV falls under the Manship School of Mass Communication. Thanks for mirroring me for that.
You're welcome.
And so a lot of the people that work there are mass comm students, and they all know each other. And the mass comm kind of covers over a lot, and so TigerTV isn't the only one in the building. They also have the Reveille, which Reveille is basically the newspaper that's run by the school. They've got tons of awards and stuff, and none of the TigerTV people like them. Cough.
Beef
and there's also KLSU, which is the radio something that they do. I don't know for sure.
104.4.
Not gonna say for sure that I know. So, oh well. But yeah, TigerTV is definitely the most active, in my opinion. I'm a little bit biased, but we've got 3 different teams, and they're always going out and covering stuff, and even like the entertainment side, like might be slipping one day, or the news side might not be doing it, and they all cover each other, and it's pretty well done, and a lot of really, really good just people with editing knowledge and journalism and all that are really gung-ho about it.
When it comes to newspapers versus news channels, the variety of skills you need is much larger. I mean, you don't just have writers.
Oh yeah.
Like a newspaper, you get everybody to write their articles, and then you figure out how you're going to place them on the page, and then you get somebody to print it, and then that's it. Yep. But with you have a production team, you have an administration, you have the anchors. Then the anchors are like, they're the ones writing all the content, but then you all have to format that content.
Well, the producers are the ones that write the show up, pretty much. So like, they structure everything, and they have a team of reporters that are like, I have this story, or I have this story, and they're like, okay, I'll put your story here, and then bam, bam, and they might do a little one. To fill in gaps and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, the producer
not only do they have to write the story, they have to present it.
Yeah. So they write the script. They write the script that the anchors have to read during the show live, and so they'll like practice it leading up to it, and then when it starts, when the camera's rolling and it's live, they just look at that prompter and read it, and if they screw it up, then they screw it up. But yeah. It's a hard job to do at first try, for sure. I've seen many an anchor go up there and just bomb. So.
Okay, I've got a question. So you're working on the production team.
Mm-hmm. So
how does that factor in with your goals for the future?
Basically.
And how come it's like 2-part. How come you're not making the content as an anchor and telling that story, and why are you behind the camera?
Yeah. So I think it's really important to understand the whole process of making something. I don't want to be like, I don't act, but I don't want to be like the acting person that just shows up on set and bosses people around, does it 3 lines, and then storms off. You know, I don't think anyone likes that. And
Are there people like that there?
No. And so,
Okay. We'll edit that out.
So I want to make sure that I know like every step of the way, because when I leave college, I want to get a job filming something or doing something creative.
Yeah.
And if I can know all the steps, whatever I get put into, like I'll know how to do it. I know how to do the whole thing, and if I had to, like I could do it alone, or at least I could do it just period. Like I'd know how to do it. I want to know all the processes from whenever you turn the camera on to whenever you release the whatever you have on your website or on in a theater or whatever. I want to know all that so that I can identify whatever it needs. Because if I'm one day like directing something, it's gonna be like it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And so like I'll know what is exactly wrong and like pinpoint it.
Really weird analogy here, but Baker Hughes, oil and gas company, and production for like movie content. The way they talk about like what they do is they call it full stream, which is not a term that everyone uses. They're kind of like the only people that use that term, but forever in the oil and gas industry, there's been upstream and there's downstream, and so downstream is whenever you're like down in the well, like getting it out of the ground, and upstream is at the customer.
Okay.
Getting it, moving it around the nation and getting it to the points of demand.
Yeah.
And doing that as efficiently as possible. I mean, efficiency applies to the whole thing. But Baker Hughes is the only, they call themselves the only full stream company, that exists, where they take it, their equipment. I mean, they don't own, like, they're not Exxon. Like, Exxon would pay Baker Hughes. So Exxon owns the oil that's down there, and they pay Baker Hughes to give them the equipment to go get it. And so the Baker Hughes equipment sucks it out of the ground and then gets it all the way to the gas station. Or, well, I don't know, all the way to the truck or the pipeline that gets to the gas station. I don't know much about the upstream, but
Gotcha.
they cover the full process. And so with you, what you're saying about TigerTV and like your positioning in that, all I hear is that your stream is longer, than most people. That's really weird to say, but like instead of just doing like this one portion right here, you're like, you're focused about like what do you have to take in, and then what has to, where does that go next?
Yeah.
And so if you the broader understanding that you have of that, the better. But you can't just have a surface level understanding of everything. You still have to be a specialist at something.
Yeah, that's fair. Which is why I don't really want to leave the position of production director. I've had people say like you should run for station manager and do that and be, like over all of it, because I mean I do care and I show up to everything as opposed to some. But I was like, no, I don't really want to do that. I don't think, at least right now. I want to be good at what I do.
Yeah.
And so plus I will admit, going into next semester they're going to get a whole new switchboard system and everything, because the numbers for TigerTV have gone up like hugely in this semester, and so that's really, really good. And I want to learn how to do it and get a new staff and train everyone and produce some good content.
So talk about funding.
Talk about funding TigerTV. You can donate right now at tigertv.tv. Boom.
But would you say that TigerTV, whenever you're dealing with LSU, gets funding equivalent to the Reveille and KLSU radio?
Maybe not KLSU. I don't know about KLSU, but the Reveille's been.
They're the big dogs in this situation.
They've been established for how many years?
I don't know.
I think 50 something. Look that up while I talk. While I speak to the people. people.
Speak to the people. Tell the truth to the people.
But yeah, the Reveille's been established for a long time, and so the fact that Tiger TV is now in there, that's like, it's kind of, especially since whenever like our station might not do as well, there's a lot of tribalism, there's a lot of taking sides.
Hey, y'all have a link on the Reveille's website.
Oh yeah,
Do they have a link on your website?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
Because that'd be.
Well, we're also just making our website. But yeah.
I don't even know.
They're all part of the Manship School.
Right.
But yeah, so Reveille has been going for so long that they have lots of awards and, you know, commendation.
Holy
like, let me
shit.
see.
1887.
Yeah, so that's when they first made one.
The first issue of the Reveille was 1887.
Yeah. Does it say anything about awards?
Awards.
I know they've won probably way more awards.
Well, I mean, they have a whole Wikipedia page. Y'all don't have a Wikipedia page.
I think that's true. I don't know. I haven't looked up, but yeah, the Reveille's been going for so long that they have like way more awards and prestige and just a part of LSU, and Tiger TV is like trying to get things going, and so, excuse me, and so we're trying to like kick things off and spread and get everything going, and produce better content and get it out to more people, but at the end of the day, it's just like a slow process, but like it's been growing and growing the past couple semesters, so nothing but good. And yeah, if you want to donate, go to TigerTV.tv, and there's a big ugly green donate button, and you can just drop some cash in there and support my job.
So in 2003, they won the Associated Press Collegiate National Pacemaker? I think that's a typo. I think it's Peacemaker, not Pacemaker. Award, the highest award granted to student publications in the country. So that was in 2003.
Yeah.
And then it also won the Editor and Publisher Award, or EPI, which I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
In 2008 for Best College Newspaper Website. And the Princeton Review named the Daily Reveille as the 10th best college newspaper in the nation in its 2010 edition of the best 361 colleges.
That's pretty good. But yeah,
I think it was the Princeton Review's 2010 edition of whatever that is. Yeah.
We've put up a couple shows that are like award worthy in this past semester. And before that even, we just got back on like who won awards and stuff. A couple of our anchors, the older anchors, won some awards for that. So that's really good, and that's only going to improve things. But yeah.
Yeah. We're in the final stretch, Jack.
Final stretch. What do you want to talk about?
Final 10 minutes, actually.
Oh no.
So I asked you about funding because I wanted to tie it back into what I left off on, which is essentially the Tiger TV, the Reveille, the Manship School in general all gets funding from LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And LSU gets its funding from, the athletics part kind of funds itself.
Mm-hmm.
The academic part, it's mostly like tuition and things like that.
Yeah.
And then on top of it all, LSU as an organization has a budget.
Yeah.
That the state pays for. And then, so I don't know how much LSU costs the state, but I know that LSU as an organization spends $1 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
So they save some money every year. They take some money. Some years they probably are. Most years I would guess that they're positive, that they're saving money, but
that's a lot of money.
Yeah. I guess the point I wanted to make is like.
And they had that fundraising thing recently.
Oh my god!
Just last weekend they had.
That was like yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah, they had fundraising event where they said they wanted to raise $1 billion for LSU, and they raised $1.5 billion.
$1.5 billion.
That's so much money.
60% of which is going to go to academics.
Yeah, 60% academics, 40% athletics.
Good.
Indeed.
That's big money.
Yeah. I don't know where that money goes. Just paying the teachers.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, I don't know. If you have $1.5 billion, like how much do you think the UREC cost?
A couple million, I would say.
But 1.5 billion is 1,500
you're right.
million.
You're right. I'm just saying it would cost. I would say $20 million for the UREC. It's like the recreational center that LSU has. Really nice.
Oh yeah. Maybe we should include all that stuff about. No, I don't want to. I don't want to talk about all this stuff that you can just find on LSU's website.
Fair enough.
So, anyways, yeah, I think that with this money that they got, I mean, I want to see some major updates on our facilities and things like that. Like our classrooms are falling apart. Like in the quad.
Yeah, some of them definitely are. Like Lockett. Oh God.
They like Lockett is one of those things that like every single student that goes to LSU will end up in Lockett at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the entire math department.
Yeah.
And so they've got their math department like
just in the shitter.
I don't know another building in Baton Rouge that looks that shitty.
Oof. That's pretty bad.
But yeah, I mean that and then Coates. Coates is pretty bad.
Coates isn't too hot either.
But the thing about Coates is like,
I can get over Coates.
I think Coates, I can get over that.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they teaching in Coates?
That's where my my business speaking class is. What a waste of time.
So, yeah, I think Lockett definitely needs an update. I think engineering, I think they're good on money. I think their facilities are pretty good. I think the business college is also good.
Dude, that place looks futuristic.
The business college?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy the way it looks. They've got a very like
they did
modernist looking building system.
Yeah, they did terrible on the drainage.
Oh, did they?
Well, I mean, you know the grass area in the middle?
Oh, does that pile up when it rains?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, that's the lowest point, like, in all the surrounding area. I think they should have just made that whole thing like a big pool. Like,
yeah.
Put like a snake or something in it. I don't know.
That'd be cute.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I don't like how they did it.
How they made the business college?
I like the look of everything,
yeah.
But I just think practically that doesn't make sense.
I get that.
I think whenever they built PFT, like they spent a lot of money on making sure that all the water like went to the right places.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with all that.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah.
I'll admit the chairs in the class, one of the classes I take in business college, it's like
Are those the ones that pull out and they swivel?
I think so. It's like a U shape, and they're like attached to a central. Two of them are attached to a central bar.
Yeah.
And then you sit in one, and you try and move it, and then the person sitting next to you gets moved because they're connected. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, that's awful. That's so bad.
No, it's just the entire business or the entire engineering college is just filled with those chairs. Like that's every classroom essentially.
That's awful.
Well, I don't know. It's a mix.
They're not uncomfortable. It's just annoying.
See,
and difficult.
they've got different types. They've got a bunch of classrooms where it's like that. They've got a bunch where it's like, you know, a normal college desk where like you like sit in it like it's like a movie theater seat.
Yeah, auditorium. I've got another one.
And then you pull like the desk over like that. And then they've got others where it's like just regular chairs and like all the and tables and like all the chairs have wheels. And like everything like isn't connected to each other.
Whoa.
I know, isn't it
Radical.
crazy? Radical ideas. Dude, what? Where are we? Dude.
We were talking about business college, like the LSU spending money on.
Right. This $1.5 billion. What are they gonna do with it?
That's what I'm thinking. I have no.
What should they do with it?
I think
the UREC is
right.
fine. I think Greek life. They're not about to give anything to Greek life is going to see about that much of that money. Zero.
I think the Greek life is not in the question. What they should do is improve the buildings. The buildings are just falling apart, like
it's,
you said.
It's the central buildings. I feel like everything that's on the outskirts of campus.
The older ones. The older
the
ones.
dorms. The dorms. They've got some. I mean, they're brand new. They look great.
Yeah.
All those ones over on Astor, but then some of the older dorms like Kirby. Is it Kirby Smith or Kirby Miller?
I think it's Kirby Smith.
Kirby Smith. Yeah, that one was bad.
Yeah, they definitely need to fix those up, especially if they're gonna make freshmen live there their first year of college.
Oh, that's another thing.
Yeah, they're gonna. So they're releasing. LSU's releasing a new. I don't want to say policy. Is it like a just law, a college law?
It's how I don't know how they're gonna enforce it.
Some kind of thing where they say,
yeah.
you know, if you're a freshman, you have to live on campus in one of our dorms, and the dorms are pretty costly.
Pretty
Yeah.
pricey. I mean, I'm saying we live in apartments, and it's cheaper than living in a dorm.
Yeah,
And that's with
living on campus.
That's with
is
utilities
way more
included, and that's with utilities included, and with like groceries and all the stuff that you would get in the dorms. Like it still works out to be like significantly cheaper.
Yeah, so you gotta think like if these freshmen are going there and then they're paying all this money to live in a dorm, and they show up and it's just a rat's den and it's awful.
No, it's gonna be they're paying a lot of money, but they're getting some like top-notch buildings. Those brand new ones, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, there might be a lot of freshmen.
Or are you talking about the old?
Yeah, I'm talking about the old ones.
Okay.
Like if they come in and then they get sent to those.
Shipped off.
Yeah, I mean that's
packaged
that
and
sucks.
delivered.
Is there a payment difference, you think, for like level of dorm?
Yeah, no, there are.
Oh really?
There's definitely pay differences.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I know North Hall costs it's crazy, but you can like take classes and things in there.
Yeah.
So you add extra money you're paying, kind of like I don't know where all the money goes or how it's moved around, but like there's extra effort that the college puts into those areas. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here. I never stayed in the dorms, and you never stayed in the dorms.
That's true.
And so we don't really know. I mean, there's definitely an aspect of the social life of living in the dorms.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just think financially, it's just not the best deal when you think about what you're paying for and what you get.
Yeah.
But that's just me, and I think that's because the college has clout, first of all, so parents trust giving money if they know that it's going to be like the college is taking care of this.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's like they're giving money to their kids to take care of that problem, they don't really trust that they're going to spend that money wisely. And so that's an aspect of it. But then with this new rule, it's like that on steroids, where like all the kids are going to have to stay in the dorms. And so it allows LSU to build these new buildings without having to go through the risk that people aren't going to want to pay the price to live in them, because they can just make people pay the price to live in them.
Yeah.
Because the cost of not paying that price to live in those dorms is like not going to LSU, or like whatever LSU's going to do to punish them for not doing that.
Yeah.
So essentially, my final point, and I know we're going a little over here. My final point is kind of a political one, but I really enjoy LSU. I mean, being from Baton Rouge, I've always been a huge fan of LSU football. Not really basketball or baseball so much, but definitely LSU football. And I love it, and I wouldn't want to give my money to anybody else. But I know that the more the politicians and the more the people guarantee money for the institution, I know that that doesn't make the institution better, and I know that it makes it just fat and happy. And then, so the more guarantees they have that they're going to be able to make money, the less that they're going to have to do for us to get that money. which means that generally the buildings and different things like that are gonna stay dilapidated.
Yeah.
And poor. So that's my fun.
I feel the same way. I came into it like I don't really think I would join. I don't know if I would go to another college. I just wanted to do that. A lot of my friends were here. I'm a part of the culture here, so it just makes sense. So yeah. Well, that's gonna be it. Yeah. Sick. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw here today. This is kind of a trial run, so I'm not really used to doing the outro. If you want to support us, make sure you share it with anyone that you think would enjoy it. Share it to your aunts, uncles, cousins, people on the bus.
Hey, look at this. Look how stupid these guys are.
Yeah. But yeah, any final remarks?
I was it. I already gave my final remarks.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.